Hello, welcome. This is another attempt at trying to get this video done. I've been trying to do this for a bit. It's very hot here in the UK right now, but we managed to get to watch Worlds on the weekend, which was awesome. I hope everyone enjoyed that. We got to have a really good time. We got loads of snacks in, just chatting with friends as well whilst we watched the outcome. Amazing performance from everyone. They put on a really good show. All the casters as well as the players. Congratulations to Ed and DKP for getting the finals and DKP for winning it. That was all awesome. But I think what a majority of people watching, because I saw the stream numbers go up and down as the announcements were announced, and as the day went on, as the 2 days went on, was the DLC and season 2 information. I think not most, but like a lot of the people were just watching for that. So we got to hear about what we're getting in the season 2 of Lorcana's competitive season. Season 2 of Lorcana's competitive season 2, and all the events that we can go to. And I've seen a lot of people have a bit of an uproar about this and complain about it. A lot of people have got issues, and I think they're all valid. Whatever you took away from it is fine. I think trying to make a competitive TCG right now is pretty hard. There's so many other competitors that you could swap to at any minute because you didn't like one thing in a game, and they'll probably provide a good or better experience than you want. That's just the way it is. It's very popular hobby right now. So when you do it, you kind of have to do it right. Otherwise, people will just go to play Riftbound or whatever other game is popular at their locals. But I'll give my personal opinions on it and everything that I kind of felt when I saw it. Because I just don't want to be another voice in the complaints crowd of people, really. But I think I'll just go through what I liked and what I disliked. So when they first announced it, they announced rest of this 2-game format as being retired, or they said it's going to be for side events, but in my opinion that kind of just sounds like it's being retired, and they just don't want to straight away drop it, so then they have to tell people that it was bad. Instead they want to just put it on side events for a bit, and then slowly it will disappear as we even remove it from side events. And if you like 2-game format, that's completely fine with you. It kind of probably is clear that the community didn't really like it that much. That's why they're dropping it, and maybe it also wasn't giving them the exact results they wanted. So we get best of 3, which in my opinion has just always been the way to play TCGs, and I've played them since I was young, and all different events it's always been best of 3 in my opinion. I always like to play it, even when my local league runs something different, like some sort of multiplayer mode, or poor Lorcana or whatever, or film or something like that, or even in One Piece if it's a 2 versus 2 or something. Those I'll play them, but I very much prefer playing best of 3. But at the end of the day, I just like playing card games, so really I will play any format they give me. But I'm just a lot happier that they did best of 3 and removed 2-game format. If something 2-game format you really enjoyed, that's completely your choice, and that's fine. But yeah, it looks like they've listened to what the community's been saying. And the DLC news is they announced 16 DLCs, which I think people at the first sound of that was like, that's amazing, just give us more. And it was right off the back of saying we're rotating out a format, 2-game format that people didn't really like. So it was all looking very, very good. And then they noticed that the events will be about 3 per region, which I think is a downsize. Of course, there's no way to look around it. You've gone from having 5 or 6 to down to 3. I can't remember how many we had last season, but I think it was 5 or 6, down to 3. So that is a downsize there. It looks like they've tried to approach spreading it out more, as Brazil gets some now, Australia is going to get 2, Japan and China is where, of course, we know they've been expanding for a long time. So it looks like they kind of just want to get more people playing the game and in more regions, which is completely what we want as well. That's a very good thing. The more popular, the more widespread the game is, people are going to love that, and it's good for the game. It just means more sales, more people playing. But punishing I wouldn't even say punishing, but yeah, the way they've reduced it from the current regions is a bit upsetting to hear. I'm not particularly happy with that, I'll admit. But they're also backing these third-party events, which I think if they were able to give them pricing, sort of unique promo cards, each event got handfuls of these that had a really good value of about 500 to £1,000. People would love that. And I think keeping that in between of third parties running events that were worth going to in between DLCs would just be awesome. It would mean they'd have to work a little bit less because, of course, we'd be going to these third-party events, and they wouldn't have, besides giving them the promo cards, they wouldn't have to do much else work, whilst they can work on their DLCs and work on the game. It's a lot better than the current thing, as they're giving out these 2025 convention mats, which are awesome. Very fortunate enough to have won one, but you know, it just seems that it's the same pricing at each one of these events, and maybe once you've done one, you don't really have too many reasons to do the other ones. But also, if you're doing it for financial gain as well, they don't have particularly too much financial gain. I think there's also something worth mentioning with every TCG. Money does drive a lot of these. A lot of players play for prizing as well as prestige. People want to be at Worlds, then they want to be on the main stage. And that brings me to my other point, is the third party events and nothing we're getting locally leads into some sort of road to Worlds, which is something that other games do. In Pokemon, you have League Cups and League Challenges. At least this was the way it used to be run when I played it, where you could perform well and they used a point system, and those points would give you entry to Worlds. If you consistently were performing very well, you could end up getting enough points that would get you a Worlds invite. So you could, in theory, do it without ever going to a regional, but I think most people had to attend a regional because that's where you could get more points as well, which is great. And I think Magic have some sort of qualifier system. This has only been told to me by friends who play Magic, which is outside doing any sort of bigger regional event. I'm not sure on that at all. I could be completely wrong, but I believe they are the one who have a lot of different roads that you can go to access their higher levels of play. So that would all be great as well. But right now it looks like you have sort of 3 major events that your chance to get into Worlds, which isn't particularly that great, and also as well, one of them being most likely an Infinity format. So if you're not even really that hyped or excited to play Infinity, that's kind of rough. And outside of that, you would have to leave your continent to go to a different continent and try and win there, I guess, which is very doable. I mean, we've seen DKP doing it, but of course the money and the time and the effort you need to put into it is way higher than what a lot of people would want to do. So it's sort of a mixture of emotions. For me personally, I'm kind of quite happy for it. I'm happy that the season is going forward and, you know, we're getting something. I'm happy that I've got something to look forward to, events to plan, reasons to keep playing the game and prepping. Of course, if I look at the other games that I play One Piece quite a bit. There is many events for me to play there and lots of prestige and sort of financial gain going around there as well. So I quite like that. I'm nowhere near swapping or leaving this game. I'm kind of with Lorcana till the end, if there ever is an end. I really enjoy the game quite a lot. So yeah, I could see the reason though for other players leaving, and also with Riftbound basically every day promoting that they've got this huge array of different events to go to and stuff. I could very much understand that people would want to leave the game, and I could very much also see that the game doesn't look like it's growing as much. It looks like it's sort of shrinking. I mean, physically in their official, you know, competitive season, it is shrinking with the amount of events that will be in your region. And as well, side note, but I think with doing smaller amount of events in each region does also affect everyone who goes to these. So say if you live in Germany and the only event that you can make is the German event, you'll make it and you'll try your best, but there'll be players who have the means to travel quite a bit and dilute that, you know, that even playing field a bit by maybe traveling from the USA all the way to Germany just to play in the Lorcana DLC, because they've already tried their first 3 DLCs in the US and they didn't do very well, or they might have done very well and they want to come and win more money and more pricing, so they'll come over to here, or maybe they want their European Continentals invite as well. So yeah, I'm kind of mixed on that. I think all round I'm probably one of the most positives on it, but from what I've seen on Twitter. But yeah, it does feel like the game's sort of shrinking a bit, and it feels like there was a bit of desperation in this release. It feels like they probably didn't have the entire competitive season planned out yet. They didn't have every event that they could put on this poster, you know, put on all of their advertisement that they've had. But they knew they had to put something else, because if they ended Worlds and they didn't say there was something else for us to play after this, people would have been fairly upset. They knew that a lot of people were tuning in to watch this just just to watch these announcements. So they had to give us something, and it looks like the three that they had, or the three that they had in Europe to announce were Bologna, Ghent, and Dortmund. I'm very hopeful in thinking that there was more for them to announce, and even in some of the regions, I can't see where they are. I think it's down a little bit on here. You've got ones like here in China where it's just a TBA, where they're saying like, it feels like there is more they're working on, and maybe the other events that they have planned, they don't even have the date yet, so they couldn't even put that on a poster. That is wishful thinking, I think, because it looks like maybe they want to keep the worlds at the size of players they are getting, which is, I think it's 11 from the European region. Here we go up here. Yeah, 11 total invites from North America and Europe, and then it feeds in and you get this many worlds competitors at the end of it. But yeah, I'm very hopeful in thinking that they do more events, and if they don't, they will just lean into these third-party events being quite very good things to do. I think as well, again, this is my tinfoil hat on, with the player hub being announced, and I don't know if everyone's locals is using it. The two locals that I attended both using it now, which is awesome. I quite like it. They have more direct access and better access to player data, and keeping it registered how good a player is performing, and you could see a point system working in there the same way that Pokemon have their own built-in tool to track all of their data, and they can tell people by points wise and how well you performed at league cups and challenges, you should have your invite to the bigger events. I could see that very much happening with Lorcana. I think that'd be a very good thing to do. It's also a tried and true thing that has happened in other TCGs and works. I don't know why Lorcana has this mad fixation of not doing the thing that other TCGs do. I believe 2-game format was tried in like some other more smaller TCGs, but I hadn't really seen any of the main big ones. To me, with Lorcana, it just felt like if they just made the game by itself stands because it's so good with its inking system. Singing and shifting is so much fun. It makes for really cool mechanics. If they just basically carbon copied Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, or Magic the Gatherings, competitive scene, we would just have the best game possible. But for some reason they always want to try something new, and they just throw different things in there. The 2-game format is like the biggest one that stands out to me right now, with the 1 extra point bonus point thing. That was just kind of crazy. And then even I guess at Worlds, we had a sealed for the first 3 rounds, and then it went into 3-deck format. Again, 3-deck format is not an unknown thing to TCG players, but it's just like, why not just do what everyone else is doing because it works and people really like that? That's just my honest opinion. I don't know why they've always got to strive to be trying something new that probably isn't going to work, because most people in this hobby as well like to have, that like it the way it is, and don't like too many things change that much. So yeah, it's very interesting, but I could imagine those things are being done. Why else would you have to go into using the player hub if you already had Melee kind of doing a good enough job to keep those store champs and events running? But it looks like they want the data for some reason. So again, tinfoil hat was on for all of that, but I guess I'll take my tinfoil hat off to say the one last bit as well that I kind of liked from the announcement. Again, events shrunk, not amazing, but we got events and we got third-party event support, so yay, all good. The game should be doing quite well. There's lots of reasons for you to play the game, and the challenge promos as well with the 12 rounds of Swiss. I really liked it, because the one thing as well that after Lille that I walked away with was that in other TCGs you lose 3 times, or you lose X amount of times, and you just have to quit and go do side events, and it kind of feels weird if you've gone all the way there and maybe you've practiced for months. But the way that Lorcana does its prizing is pretty good. Of course, you get your participation one. They've got their 5 wins one, which is really nice, because that feels a bit like it's replacing the Let It Go promo. And then you've got ones for pretty good top cuts as well there. If they're just more things like that, I really liked. There's quite a good range from of course first to top 64, and imagine if you lost, like, you maybe 7 rounds in and now you've lost 3 or something like that, and you go, I'm not going to make top cut, but you think, I just need that one more win, and then I can get the Mulan thing, so you'll just keep playing for that win. Also as well, they're very good with the ticket system. I remember the last DLCs, you got tickets for your wins as well. I don't know if that stuff's going to be repeated there, but they're very good at keeping you playing when you're out of the running, which I thought was really great. Even over the last time at the third party event in Axion, they try and copy as well the sort of prizing of that, of when you're out you've still got stuff to play for, and it kept me playing, it kept me going, and I got a very good finish and ended up getting like a box and a half or something on that day, which is awesome. So I think the prizing they've always done very, very well. I think all these cards look stunning as well. I sometimes just gloss over the art in TCGs. I'm a bit boring like that, but all of the art here looks really awesome, and I think they've done a really good job on the prizing. I kind of knew that they were going to do the Golden Mickey again, because there was 100. I think they're 100 out of 100 serialized. But, you know, I was hoping for season 2, we maybe got a different character. I don't know if they're going to run out of iconic characters and they're just going to have to keep doing golden Mickeys. But yeah, I think for that, bringing the price down. And again, like I say, the financial reasons to play these games do keep the competitive season alive, competitive scene alive, sorry, because of course, like myself and a lot of people, we play just because we very much enjoy the game. But for the big players, like I guess I'm going to say, like, the ones who were at Worlds, the ones who were at the finals in Worlds, I don't want to say a direct name because I don't want to put a name on anything. The reasons why they do their metafies and they do their videos and stuff is because of the financial reasons of it all. And they probably won't keep playing and won't keep producing amazing content and ways to improve and be a better competitive player if there's no reason for themselves to do it. They'll just go play a different game that has better pricing. And that's kind of just the realism of it. You know, if the pricing wasn't giving out, you know, tens of thousands, you probably just, you know, would just play a different game that is. And that was why a lot of reasons why the Yu-Gi-Oh players came over to Lorcana, because I believe Yu-Gi-Oh's pricing had a lot of issues. And so you can see that happening in other TCGs. That's not me saying that people are just hungry for money and everything. That's just the way it is in the game. So overall, I guess my opinions are a bit melancholy, but I'm more excited than I am upset with the news. Event is good in anything. I'm a sort of type of, I guess on a personal level, quite a person who gets quite overwhelmed quite easily, and I felt like if they were going to announce, you know, 6 events in my region and just a ton of stuff, I'd have been too overwhelmed to enjoy it. But 3 felt fine, and then the support for side events, smaller third-party events, was great as well. But, you know, yeah, just more competitive routes to play. You know, an online client, I think, would just win everyone over on the spot. And saying that maybe these third-party events could get you entries to Worlds, you know, if you consistently performed well over third-party events, that could get you an invite to Worlds, a point system, as I've mentioned. But yeah, overall, just I'm probably one of the more positive people on this news. But pricing's great. Looks like season 2's kicking off. It looks like we've, for some reason, gone wider in the world, but we've gone thinner on the actual events that, you know, people who have been around for the longest time can play. Don't think any stuff's bad stuff. And Lorcana seems to always get its groove eventually. Disney is such a huge IP. I think there's a lot of people who just enjoy the game because of Disney, and that's completely understandable as well. So yeah, I'm very hopeful for the new season, but I imagine it's going to be a bit of a lull still, even with this good news of we've got events coming. I imagine there's still going to be a bit of a lull from the community as we're not getting enough events. But yeah, let's just keep going. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to enjoy the game. I'm not going anywhere. And what I do personally, if I don't have enough Lorcana to play, is I just play a different game. But maybe I'm fortunate enough to do that. But yeah, that's just all my thoughts on the DLC news after Worlds.